that thing that your body does when your mind is not okay, but you don't have the words for it yet? You're sitting in a meeting or in a class or on the sofa and your legs just won't stop bouncing. Your foot is tapping, your fingers are picking at your nails, your sleeve, your phone case, or sometimes even the opposite. You feel heavy, slow, sluggish, like your body is moving through quicksand. You want to get up to do something useful, but your limbs just didn't get the memo. You tell yourself, I'm just fidgety, or I'm just tired, but your body is quietly telling you there's something not quite right with your dopamine system. Welcome to Toxic Physiology. So, today we're going to be discussing the movement side of dopamine, the pathway that turns your inner state into restless energy, so fidgeting, or that heavy, slowed down feeling where your body won't cooperate even when your mind wants to. When people talk about dopamine, they think motivation, pleasure, addiction, focus. But there's a whole dopamine pathway that doesn't care what you're scrolling, what you're eating, or what you're achieving. Its sole job is to decide how you move. And when that system is healthy, your movements feel automatic and smooth, but when it's dysregulated, well, your body starts broadcasting to the world your internal state of affairs through fidgeting, restlessness, slowness, before your mind has even caught up. Now, there's a dopamine pathway called the nigrostriatal pathway, and it runs from a region in your midbrain called the substantia nigra to an area called the striatum, which is a key part of your basal ganglia, which is a deep brain network that helps coordinate and smooth out movement. So basal ganglia is to do with movement. Just remember that. Dopamine, in this area, it doesn't decide what you want in life. No. It decides how your body expresses it. So in simple terms, it helps you start movements, flow from one movement to the next, and it keeps automatic movements like walking, writing, reaching, feeling smooth and natural. When this system is in balance, you don't think about how you move, you just move. When it's not, your body becomes the screen that your nervous system is projected onto. So, what happens when dopamine is low? We see the clearest version of low dopamine in certain conditions, like a really famous one is Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease is where dopamine neurons gradually die off. So what happens? Movement becomes slow, stiff, hard to start. People can still think, I want to stand up, but the signal from I want to move to my body is moving is delayed and weakened. Now that's the extreme version. You might not have Parkinson's, but you can still experience milder shades of that physiology, feeling like your body is heavy or slowed when you're exhausted or burnt out, finding it weirdly hard to get up off the sofa even when you're restless inside, dragging your feet doing the bare minimum physically. Your dopamine movement system is part of the reason why constant mental and emotional stress can show up as physical slowness. Your body starts saying, we don't have the fuel for big movements right now, so stay small. So, what happens when dopamine is high? When dopamine and regulated systems are high, spiky, or poorly regulated, you can get what we call psychomotor agitation, which is a fancy term for my body won't stay still. It feels like tapping, bouncing, fidgeting, pacing the room, shifting in your seat every few seconds, picking at your clothes, objects, moving fast without clear purpose. You're not deciding to do these things. Your body is trying to discharge internal tension through movement. It's your motor system basically saying there's too much energy in here, we need to burn some off. Most people label this as nervous habits or I'm just an anxious person, but at a deeper level, it's also your dopamine movement system and related circuits struggling to find a stable setting. So, to summarize, if it's too low, you have slowed, stuck, heavy. If it's too high and spiky, you get restless, jittery, wired. Both give the same message. this pathway is out of balance. Now, here's the part we often ignore. Your internal state shows up physically. So agitation inside shows up as fidgeting, pacing. Hypervigilance inside shows up as scanning movements, jumpiness. Shutdown, collapse shows up as slowed, small, minimal movement. Your body is constantly airing what your nervous system feels like. When you have a calm system, you have smoother, more fluid movement. Dysregulated system, you have jittery or slowed, sometimes flipping between the two. What does this mean? This means that your movement style is not just how you are. It's a live kind of readout of how your motor circuits, including dopamine, in the nigrostriatal pathway are integrating with stress, mood, and environment. So your walk, your posture, your little habits with your hands, they're all data. Now, this is where modern life screws us over. How are we living today? Well, our days tend to push us towards two extremes. We either have long periods of forced stillness, where we're sitting in our desks, in cars, in lectures, staring at our screens, and bursts of restless, unfocused movement. So pacing while on our phones, jittering through stress, frantic, I need to move, but I don't know how. Whereas we were designed for constant low-level movement. We were designed for walking, carrying, bending, reaching, physical engagement with our environment. Instead, many of us live in a pattern of either physically still, mentally overstimulated, or physically restless, but mentally exhausted. Now, the nigrostriatal system is trying to coordinate a body that was built for motion in a lifestyle that mostly asks it to sit down and scroll. That mismatch is another form of toxic physiology. If you recognize yourself as the leg bouncer, the pen clicker, the late night pacer, or the person who feels like they're moving through quicksand, this isn't just a random quirk. It's your motor dopamine system and wider basal ganglia circuits responding to stress, overstimulation, lack of meaningful physical outlets, and sometimes deeper neurological changes. The point I'm trying to make isn't for you to self-diagnose every movement. It's to realize that your body is not separate from your mental and emotional life. Your movements are data. They're your nervous system speaking out loud. How do we fix this? How do we start rewiring this? Well, we can't rewire the whole nigrostriatal pathway in one episode. We can't do that. No. The first thing I would recommend is to notice when your body is broadcasting stress and stop treating those signals as random or shameful. So what can we do when we notice them? Well, remember, your body wants to move, so give it the kind of movement that it was built for. Your natural fitra is that your body was designed for regular, low-intensity movements, not just occasional all-out workouts. So instead of waiting for that 1 hour at the gym, you can try and scatter movements throughout your day. This way, you're telling your motor system, we are a body that moves, not just a brain dragging a body around. So that's one of the first things that we can do. Basically, walking while you think, taking calls on your feet, doing small physical tasks. I know some people found that walking on a treadmill while they're working helps them focus. So that's a way that we can regulate our dopamine system. The second thing is you have all this energy. It needs to go somewhere. So give restless energy a place to go. If you're the fidgeter, the pacer, or the constant tapper, you don't just need to sit still. You need a better outlet. So what you need to do is channel that energy into short walks, paced breathing with gentle movement, light chores between tasks, simple exercises that you can do safely in small spaces. So that instead of fighting the urge to move, you give it structure. You're telling your nervous system you're allowed to move, but we're going to move with purpose. Step 3, so this is when you notice you're having slow movement. You need to treat that heaviness as information. So you ask yourself, am I under-recovered? Am I emotionally drained? Have I been still for too long? Sometimes you just need to rest. Sometimes you just need some time out. And that's okay. Or sometimes the answer is gentle activation. Again, a short walk, standing up regularly, loosening your body before you ask it to sit and focus. stretch before you do any type of activity. This way, you're telling your system, I see that we're stuck. Let's nudge, not force. Now, you are not just thinking your life, you're moving it. Every fidget, every slump, every step is your nervous system writing how it feels onto your muscle. The nigrostriatal dopamine pathway is one of the main pens it uses to write with. When dopamine here is off, your body often shows it before your mind can explain it. So instead of fighting your body, start listening to it, because the way you move is not just random. It's a conversation between your brain and your environment and your physiology. And once you see that, you can stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what is my body trying to tell me about how I'm living and what I can change so that my movement and my mind can finally be on the same side. This is Toxic Physiology, where we explain the science behind the chaos. If you like this episode, give us a like, a comment, and subscribe to our channel, and follow us on all our other platforms. I'll see you for the next episode.